This troy-bilt snowblower is running on half choke. Here's how I fix it. Hey guys and gals, welcome to Garage Gear. I'm JB. So why is this snowblower only running on choke? Well, some jets up inside this carburetor are probably plugged up. And in my experience, the best way to fix this is by doing a carburetor cleaning. And if you have a similar style snowblower like a Craftsman, MTD, Yard Machines, lean in, because they put this engine on a lot of different snowblowers, and the general practices here will remain the same. And if you want to jump right to the carburetor cleaning, I'll have that timestamp right down here. Now this carburetor is trapped under all these different panels. Clearly this engine was designed by some brilliant engineers. Now all this here is going to have to come off, and getting at this bolt right here is kind of a pain because the belt cover's in the way. So we're taking that off. We got a 3/8 bolt right here. There we go. Then we got this 3/8 bolt right here. Out she comes, and off comes the belt cover. Now we're gonna get this heat shield off, and we got these two 10mm bolts right here. Now we got these two bolts right here on this side. Can I get in here with my driver? Yes, beautiful. This one here is gonna need a ratchet. There we go. A lot easier to get at this by taking the cover off. Excellent. I'll tell you what, these little magnetic trays are awesome. I'll have one of these linked below. Now they put this one in a really stupid spot. You gotta get a 10mm wrench in there. There it is. So now this cover should just pop right off like that and help this video take off with YouTube algorithm. Would you mind hitting that like button? Thank you very much. Now we got to get all these controls out of the way. So we're going to start by taking the key out. And then from here, you should be able to just take the throttle control and pull it off. Got to get a better grip on that. These are the, I wasn't taking no for an answer pliers. Oh God. That thing was on there. There it is. And then we're going to get in here with a flathead screwdriver on the choke, the dial of the day, and pop this guy off. There it is. Choke dial is now off. Now I got my primer tube up here, and I'm just gonna get a flathead screwdriver behind that and just gently push it off. Just be careful and take your time. You don't wanna rip this. There it is. At this point, all the controls are now off. Now down here, we have these two 10mm bolts. Let's take these out. Now in order to get this whole panel off, which wraps all the way to the other side of the engine, we have to take off the electric start. We have two Phillips head screws. We're just gonna take those out. Ooh, this one's in there. The screw on the backside, it's a little hard to see. It's a little rusted, but I gotta get to this panel. I gotta get it off. I'm gonna shoot just a little bit of PB Blaster on there. Let's see if this does anything for us. Wow. It's a little warped. She's leaning to one side, but she'll do the job. Now at this point, it's probably a good idea to take some pictures of how everything kind of lines up in here, especially with your wires. This way you can put it all back together exactly the way it was. Then we got two 10mm bolts up here on top. And we're going to carefully remove this air tube here on the top. Get it out of the way. A tight fit in here. Jeez, she's free. Now it's a little hard to see, but I can see some fluid all the way at the bottom there. That's some gas. Now there is this tube right here that links up to our panel. I have to disconnect it here from the engine, but this spark plug boot is in the way, so I'm gonna get this out of the way first. There it is. Get out of there. Now I got this little pin here that I'm gonna push around so I got better access to it. That might do. I'm gonna get these pliers on it and see if I can push it up and out of the way. And from there, I'm just gonna get a flathead screwdriver. We're just gonna push her off. That should come off easy now. I've got this primer tube here. I'm just gonna unhook that, get that out of the way. There it is. And off she comes. Now I'm just gonna let this kind of gently hang here, maybe rest it on the tire, so that way I'm not stressing out this wire that's connecting up to our key. Now we got some pretty good access to the carburetor. We're gonna take these spacers off, then carefully remove this gasket here. Then we're gonna slide off this choke assembly, and then lift it up and out of that top hole. Then we have another gasket right here. We're gonna gently slide this off. We don't wanna rip these. Perfect. Then up here we have a thin linkage and then a thick linkage. We're gonna start with the thin one first. We gotta unhook it. Reach in, bend up ever so gently. We do not want to bend you. There we go. And then from here, we're just gonna turn this top part, lift up, and out comes the thick linkage. Now I'm willing to bet that the fuel inside this gas tank right here is bad. It's got a slight odor to it, and it runs down this tube here into the carburetor. Let's undo this little clamp and pour it down, and I'm gonna let it flow down my funnel into this pan. Slide our clamp up. I'm gonna give it a little twist here just to kind of loosen it. And there she goes. That fuel kind of stinks. Just gonna let that all drip right out. Now this fuel doesn't look all that terrible. It definitely has a different kind of odor to it and it doesn't smell good. So it was 100% sitting in that tank for a while. And when the fuel's turning your gloves colors like this, something's up. At this point, we should be able to just slide our carburetor right off. There is our carburetor. Let's go clean it up. Now let's get a close look at this carburetor. Do you see this like green slime here? Look at that. That's not supposed to be there. And we actually have a little bit of fuel, which looks like it was dribbling out. So that explains the fuel sitting in that panel. So this thing definitely needed to be cleaned. This is our primer tube. Let's get this off. Cool. Now you may find a gasket like this on the side that just isn't quite coming off. In this case, I'm just gonna leave it. I'm not gonna fight it. I don't wanna rip it. All right, you got your drain bolt and your bowl bolt. We're checking out the bowl bolt. Pop this on. Oh, you're gonna fight me? These guys never learn. Hey, Mr. Wilton. You mind helping out a brother? There it is. That's all we needed. Thanks, Mr. Wilton. All right, let's get this bolt off now. There it is. Much easier. Set that aside, and off comes our bowl. A little bit of junk in there. This should be white, not yellow. That does not look right. Definitely sitting in some old gas. And from here, we're gonna carefully get our bowl gasket out of the way. I'm gonna do this nice and easy. You don't wanna rip this. There you go. There's your bowl gasket. Now from up here, we have our little pin. We're gonna remove that. And then out comes our float with our needle, which is on a spring. So you wanna be careful, you don't wanna lose that. Now inside here is a jet and our emulsion tube. We're gonna stick a flathead screwdriver in. Now I took a Craftsman screwdriver, an old one, and I just kind of sheared down the sides, made it a little thinner so that way it fits in most carburetor emulsion pipes like this. And I'm just gonna twist it. And there we go. This will get our jet out. Come on, baby. There it is. We have our main jet, and then we have our emulsion tube. And if you notice, they got all these little holes along the sides. We got to clean those, and then we got to definitely clean out this main jet inside. What's good is I can see light through the other side. That's a good sign. Moving to the top, there's this jet right here, and this is usually a culprit as well. It's got some really fine holes that we need to clear out, but it's blocked by this stupid screw right here. And if we don't put this screw back in exactly the way we found it, this carburetor may not run quite right. So what I'm gonna do is take a pick, and I'm just gonna mark the top of this screw, so that way I know this is the very top. You could use a marker too, but I found that that washes off with carburetor cleaner, just like that, create a nice little groove. So I know that's the top. Now these screws are kind of special. What I'm gonna do is take a flathead screwdriver, and I'm just going to stick it in, and I'm going to twist the screwdriver and count how many turns it takes to get this screw flush and all the way through. Then from there I can take the screw out, and then when I go to put the screw back in when I'm done, I know I just need to back it out that many turns. So let's begin. Here we go. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5. And it looks like that was about 5.5 turns right there. So remember that number, 5.5. Then from here, we're just gonna back it all the way out and take it out. And there it is. We're just gonna set that aside. Now from here, life is pretty easy. We're just gonna take a flathead screwdriver and pop this jet right out. Be careful, sometimes they go flying out. Take a look, boom. We're just gonna clean out that tiny, tiny hole inside. The carburetor is officially gutted. Now it's time to get to cleaning. Goggles on, guys and gals. And any kind of carburetor cleaner will do here. All right, let's start by cleaning up the main body of the carburetor. Let's start by giving it a quick spray. Hose it down, baby. That looks a lot better already. Jeez. And from here, we're gonna get up inside this thing. That'll do. And then up inside this emulsion pipe. Now, this is where the fuel comes in. We're gonna shoot some carburetor cleaner up inside, and it should come out this hole right here. You can see it dripping out the bottom. That's good. And then this butterfly flap right here, this is my choke flap. So I'm gonna open this all the way up. Then from here, we got some little jets inside here, and then one inside here. And by spraying it here, you should see some carburetor cleaner fountaining out the top like that. Let go. Next up, we're gonna hit this jet. Spray inside there, cool. Even inside this little hole, clean it out, and then all up inside. Now we'll come around to this side, spray this all out. Now there are some really tiny pinholes up inside here. We're gonna hit those as best we can. I'm gonna use the straw to kind of pinpoint and target them. Just like that, hit them from the inside. Then from here, we'll just hit the hole inside. And then last but not least, we're gonna spray down this hole from the top. Take our straw, get it right in that hole at the very bottom. And good. Look at that. Just pouring out, baby. Now this top of the carburetor is all cleaned out. Next up, we got the bowl, which has a little bit of corrosion at the bottom. We'll clean that off. And that will do. Give it a little wipe. And it took some of it off, see? Take a look. Not too shabby. That was a fairly dirty bowl. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't go eating any Cinnamon Toast Crunch out of that. Next up, we got our float and our needle. We're gonna be careful not to lose that needle. Spray it all down. Take our pin here, whoa, jeez, hit that. That'll do. Now from here, I'm gonna clean the jets, and there's some little tiny holes that we gotta clear out, and I'm gonna use some tip cleaners, but you can also use the tip of a brush, a metal brush, and that'll work just fine. Here I have our main jet. I'm just gonna thread this through, just like that. Clean it out, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. Giggity. Good deal. Give it a quick shot. Got a good little stream coming out of there. Now from here, I got this top jet that was sitting at the top of our carburetor, and that hole inside is tiny. I don't know if my smallest tip cleaner will do it. I might have to use the wire brush. Let's see. Will it go through? No, it will not. All right, we're using the wire brush. Let's grab that. We're just gonna pull one little thread off of our wire brush, just like so. Stick that in, and boom, there it is. We're just cleaning it out, in and out, and get out. From there, give it a quick spray. Done. Now we got our emulsion tube, and we're gonna clean this one the same exact way using our tip cleaner. We're just gonna jam it in, stick it all the way through. So we're just gonna go down the ladder, get it in every hole. These ones down here toward the bottom are really tiny, so we might have to use the brush for those. And I'll have all these tools, these pipe cleaners, everything linked down below in the description. Now we got the wire brush for the small holes here at the bottom. Boy, these are tiny. Feeding it through, feeding it through, feeding it through, feeding it through. All those tiny holes are now clear. And we'll just spray some carb cleaner down the center. Coming out of everywhere, good. Now I'm just gonna spray off that bowl bolt here at the bottom. Done. Then I have our choke plate, which actually has more of that slime on it. We're gonna clean this off. All right, let's spray this bad boy. Now these gaskets are kind of dirty. I'm just gonna dunk them here in the carb cleaner just like that, and then quickly wipe them off. This will get some of the junk off. You can already see through it. Look at that. Same thing here on this one. Look at the junk that pulled off of that. Gross. Our bowl gasket here, this has got a little bit of junk on it. Same thing, dunk it. Some people get really worried about getting too much carb cleaner on gaskets and whatnot. As long as you don't let them sit there forever, you're usually okay. And look at that. Look at what I just pulled off of that, just by gently threading that through. Now we're gonna blow dry all of this. I'm gonna take some compressed air now and blow out everything. So I'm gonna hook it up right here where the fuel comes into the carburetor, and it should give us a nice little puff out the top. Around the bottom, and then we'll go inside, poke on the side jets here. Same thing here. All in the middle. And then we'll go down this jet on the top. Come over here to this side, watching out for that gasket. Cool. Now our bowl. Hold on to your float and your needle. Don't lose it. Now we got our emulsion tube. Hold on to this. These parts are getting smaller and smaller. Our main jet. Then we have our top jet and our bowl bolt. All right, let's put it all back together. Let's start with our emulsion tube. You got your thin end and you got your fat end. We're gonna stick the thin end in first, slide that on down, and then we're gonna take our main jet, thread that guy back in. Screw it in, snug it down. From here, we're gonna take our bowl gasket. We're gonna place that back around the ridge, around the outside, around the outside, around the outside. That looks pretty good right there. Then we're gonna take our float with our needle, and we're gonna drop that right into that little pipe in the back. Take our pin, line everything up, slide it all the way through, center it just like that, and that float should move pretty freely. Now from here, I'm gonna take my bowl and I'm gonna line this drain bolt right here up with the brand name logo that's on the carburetor, just like so, because when this sits on the carburetor, it's going to be sitting basically like this, and we want the fuel to come out of that hole when we need it to. Then from here, we're gonna take our bowl bolt, twist that in, take your socket, and snug it down. That should do it. Now we have our top jet here. We're gonna insert this back in the top, stick it in. Oh, you're going in, pal. There you go. Gotta get 2 thumbs on it.
I'm all thumbs today.
Then from here, our magic screw with our scratched end. We're gonna insert that. We're gonna thread it all the way back in. Take our screwdriver, twist it down. I don't know why they design it like this. This makes no sense. And then from here, we gotta back it out. What was our magic number? That's right, 5.5. Here we go. There's our half. That's 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, and 5.5. That is now set exactly how we found it. I'm gonna reinstall the primer tube. Now it's time to take this carburetor, which is now really shiny, and all these gaskets, and put it all back on the snowblower. Now it's time for that magical moment. Time to put this carburetor back into place. Go on, there we go. From there, we can reinstall our fuel line. Good. Fuel line's back on. I'm gonna clamp this fuel line back into place now so I don't forget. There we go. From here, I'm gonna line up that thick linkage, drop it into place. Then I'm gonna take the thin linkage, get it on my needle nose pliers, and drop it into this thin little pinhole here at the top. Just like that. And from here, I'm gonna take my first gasket, slide that back on. Again, being ever so careful. You don't wanna rip these, take your time. Oh, and one other thing. When you go to reinstall your fuel clamp here, make sure you twist it down and out of the way. That way it's not touching any part of your choke plate or its linkage. Now, take that linkage, insert it on the top, bring it around town, slide it on back. Nothing's touching, we're good to go. If we take our pliers here, we can actually twist our choke exactly how we want it. Now, take the other gasket, slide that on the front, place it right there. Now, before I put this plate on, I'm just gonna wipe out this little tube right here because this actually had some fuel sitting in there. Look at that. That was not good. I'm glad I did that. Just wipe it out as best you can. That's from old fuel just sitting in there all season long. That will do. Now we don't want to forget our spacers here. These are going to be important, helping keep this carburetor nice and tight to the back of the engine here. Now from here, it's all about lining everything up and getting this panel back into place. So we're gonna take our time and line everything up. You're on there, cowboy. You can do it! Slide it on, check everything. So now I'm gonna bring you in up here. I got the panel back on. I'm gonna line this tube back up with the tube that's sticking off the engine. Slide it all the way on, lock it down. She's good. Then from there, take my primer tube, which has this little slot right here. It's gonna land itself in, bring it into there. We're good. Then from here, we have this air tube, which goes right here. We're gonna fit this back in. Now, if we remember from earlier, these wires here for the key and this primer tube went underneath this bolt hole right here. So I'm gonna slip those right there, drop that cover into where it needs to go. Seems to fit nicely. I'm gonna reinsert my 2 screws right here and here. Remember, these were the longer ones. Take my primer tube, reinstall that on the back of the primer. There we go. Boom. I'm gonna reconnect my spark plug here. Good. Then we have our 2 bolts. We're gonna bolt these back into place here to hold this whole panel nice and tight and lock that carburetor into place. Everything's nice and snug now. We're gonna reinstall our starter, and I'm gonna use the ugly bolt first. We're just gonna twist it on in with a screwdriver. Yeah, she's going in. Kinda ugly, not bad. Get the other one in, send the other one home. Cool. Now let's put all our controls back on. Let's stick our key in, and then our throttle lever, and I'm gonna put the hole up. That's exactly how I took it off. Push down from the top, and then push it. Push it real good. There you go. Now we're on. And then take our choke lever. It's got a flat slot in the center. Stick it on, and we are good to go. I think that's even better than before. Then I'm gonna drop the cover back on. All right, now that the cover is pretty much in place, we're gonna bolt it back down. I'm gonna put everything in loosely just so that way I can kind of place it exactly where it needs to go. The other one here on the inside, just gonna thread that in. And then the one here on the inside on the top. I'm gonna crank this one down first. Snug. Now I can get in here and just start tightening everything up now. Good. And these ones should go quick here. Pop our belt cover back into place. There we go. Good. Then come over here to the other side and bolt this side down. Good. Done. Let's get this troy-bilt back on the ground. Time to reload with some ethanol-free fuel. There we go. We're all set. This carburetor is now all cleaned out. We're reloaded with fresh fuel. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go fire it up. Choke is set. Throttle up. Prime it. 1, 2, 3. Let's give it a pull. Look at that. Beautiful. Now we're gonna take our choke. Up 1, 2, 3. That's running a lot better right now. It's not surging anymore. It's nice and smooth. Choke's all the way to run. We're good to go, baby. Let's adjust the throttle too. Oh, that's nice. And back up we go. Nice and smooth. And that's it. Perfect. That troy-bilt snowblower starts up a lot easier and runs so much better with the choke dial set all the way to run. And before, it would only run on half choke, and now the choke's fully off. But how did it wind up this way, only running on choke? Well, pretty simple. There was gas left in the tank for way too long. Guys and gals, this is exactly why I say get the gas out at the end of the season. Now, when I picked this snowblower up, I specifically asked the owner, was gas sitting in it since last season? They said yes, and they even poured more gas in, which probably was bad too. It was too late, the damage was already done, and then I asked, did you stabilize the fuel by any chance? They said no, and I even asked, you ask a lot of questions. Well, I sure do if I'm buying something expensive. I even asked, was that 87 octane or ethanol-free fuel? They said it was regular pump gas, 87 octane. So this was straight gas, going bad, clogging up the carb. This gas also had an odor to it, clear indicator that it's been sitting in there for a while. Now, previously it started right up, which was great. And the previous owner even said, look, it starts right up. Yeah, but it didn't run smooth. And if you're running a half-choke snowblower into that high snowbank at the end of the driveway, chances are really good that it's gonna bog down immediately. I can see it now. There's gonna be some people having an absolute fit down below in the comments. I just top off the tank and tuck it away for the season, and I don't have any issues. Hey, if you're one of those that tops it off and hopes for the best, may your pull cord be blessed. If this isn't a perfect example of why not to do that, I don't know what is. About 4 to 5% of snowblower owners do say that they top off their tank at the end of the season, by the way. Getting the gas out at the end of the season works for me, and I'm sticking to it. And I always preach running ethanol-free fuel in all my small engines. For the most part, running ethanol-free gas will keep you drama-free. If you don't have ethanol-free gas at a pump near you, you could go the stabilizer route. But in my experience, that can be questionable too. I had a Cub Cadet snowblower running on choke because it had stabilized fuel in it just last year. I'll have that video linked down below in the description as well. And the carburetor definitely needed a cleaning. My best advice is draining that fuel out at the end of the season when you're done using it. Do you drain the fuel out, stabilize it, or top it off at the end of the season? Let me know down below in the comments. Now, this snowblower wasn't used very much. It's very clean. There's hardly any rust on it. And the belts are in great shape too. It's in really good condition considering that it's about 10 years old. So my guess is it was used here and there and then shoved back in the shed with the gas left inside to go bad. Now, could you just buy a cheap carburetor and replace it and save yourself some time? Yeah, sure. But you still have to take a lot of the panels off just to get at the thing. And the whole process of cleaning the carburetor only takes about 10 minutes and maybe about a half a can of carburetor cleaner. And waiting for the new carburetor to come in while the snow piles up in your driveway because your snowblower ain't working is no fun either. I'm a big fan of just using what I have and cleaning it. And if you don't necessarily have all the tools and aren't up to the task of cleaning it, then maybe buying a new carburetor is the way to go for you. Warning, make sure that you are buying the correct carburetor, match up your model number of your snowblower to be sure that you're getting the right one. I strongly recommend purchasing an OEM carburetor that matches your snowblower model number. Some of the cheaper knockoff carburetors that are available on Amazon and other sites don't always have their jets bored out properly, and I've seen some cases where they didn't quite run so well once they were put on. So you're best to go with OEM. It'll save you a lot of time and hassle. And if you're interested in learning how to prevent rust on your snowblower and make it last a lifetime, I'll have my full snowblower rust proofing course linked down below in the description. If you want to be part of the tribe, subscribe, and for more cool garage gear content, click or tap the screen right here. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the garage.